All right. So welcome everyone here, and welcome to all of you who are watching this maybe on Halloween evening on the recording. Uh, so I've got a lot of artworks for you. And I'm talk a little bit about how we're going to approach this. It might be a little bit different than usual. Um, but right here, let's see. Oh, hey Pooja, welcome. So we might be a little bit of a
No.
small. Hey, good to have you. It might be a little bit of a smaller group as here live, but I think others will probably join us along the way. But that means you get more of a say and you get to share more. And thanks, Wendy, for the heads up there. So, well, not many updates to give you, except if you are around the Charlotte area on November 10th, I'm giving a tour at the Mint Museum Uptown. If you're around that area, you can. It's on my website under tours, and I think there's still a couple spots left for that. But I want to dive right into the art, and we'll go for about an hour, and we'll see um, what you want to engage with and how far you want to go. So I've got two unveilings of artworks, two unveilings. Now, all these artworks that I've got, these are artworks that have come from my recent European travels. So they're all artworks that I've seen in person. And I was actually kind of surprised by how many eerie, disturbing, horrific works of art there are. Now, I have not picked out the most horrific as our main ones, but I have reserved them, put them at the back end. And if anybody wants to stick around with me for a few minutes after we formally close, then and we want to take a quick glance of those, you're like curious, like can I just peek and not we can peek. But I do have two categories of unveilings. The first kind I'm calling the haunted, which hopefully is a little bit more mild, and then the disturbing, which might get a little bit more eerie. Now, what do I gain from looking at these artworks? So I love Halloween. I love Halloween, especially for the fact that you get to wear a costume and channel somebody that you admire, that you want to role play a little bit. That's one my favorite thing about Halloween. But it's also a little bit of an opportunity to delve into some darker facets, to feel maybe safe to get into psychotic psyches and maybe things that you're scared of in life a little bit more than others, and maybe find artworks that might exude that. So um, I do have donations buttons here. If you'd like to donate, feel free to. But of course, it's not obligatory. It's not a pass key to coming in. Just come on in and stay as long as you like. Um, I do have a little bit of a little teaser artwork here, a pastel that I saw that I like. It's kind of delightful. It's just called The Witch. And I just like that, just it looks so playful. This is a witch I'd like to get to know. And hi, Lisa. Welcome. Good to have you.
Hi.
Just good. You can hear me and hear. Excellent. Excellent. So we're just getting rolling, and let's start with unveiling number one, The Haunted. So in the chat or vocally, since we're a little bit of a smaller group, feel free to share an initial title for each of these, and I'm just going to show them to you very briefly. And then I've got four here for the haunted section, and then afterwards we can decide which one we want to spend time with before we go on to the second batch. Okay. So these works, I might have given a tour on them, but they are a little bit on. Uh-oh, what's going on here? This might be Halloween appropriate. Here's the first one. What's your title for this one? And I've got myself some rum because I need a little bit something a stiffer drink for an evening like this. What's your title for this one? First impression. Mine might be The Haunted Palace. John, you've got Moonlit Castle. Wendy, you've got gloomy night. Yeah, excellent. So get a sense of it. Get a sense of how you emotionally react to it, what your first impression is of it. And maybe that might be the one we spend time with. Here's the second one. What's your initial title for this one? John, you have Mortal Remains. Pooja, you have Life and Death. I'm going to put down Overworked. Um, maybe something a little bit lighter. Okay. And then Wendy, you have Creepy Paperweight. Yeah. Okay. That's pretty funny. All right. Here's the third one. What about this one? This is maybe a little bit more haunted. What's your initial impression of this one? What are your first words? Hmm. Let's see. So Pooja, you're calling it Sea Monster. John, Floating Ghost. Lisa, Ghostly Apparition. Wendy, Ghostly Waters. I might call it The Death of the Mermaid. All right. And one more for this first batch of haunted works. What's your initial title for this one? I might call it Gloom in the Night. Pooja, Starry Night. All right. And Wendy, you've got Beneath the Cloak. Okay. So which one of these captured your interest? I'm going to go back to the beginning here. Is it this one, The Moonlit Castle? Or this one, the Creepy Paperweight? Or this one, The Floating Ghost? Or this one, The Starry Night? So which one are you most keen on? I'll put numbers by these. So we got 1, 2, 3, or 4. Which one of these looks most intriguing to you? John's voting for number 1. Pooja number 3. Lisa number 1. Wendy number 2 or number 4. And I think might have sided maybe with, oh man, I can't decide number 3 or 4. But let's do this. Let's spend a little bit of time with number 1 and see where we go with this. And it seems pretty simple. Now I don't know it. I've besides seeing it at the art museum and I read the title. don't know anything about it. So I'm going to give you, first of all, let's say, 2 minutes just on your own. And I'll zoom in. And feel free to write anything out or just to look closely. But remember some of the things that you can do to enhance what might seem like a very still object. Imagine a movement, imagine the other senses, imagine a quote. Look for clues about the expression. If you have a statement of what the mood is, what are the details in the body language that suggest that, or in the setting? About another 30 seconds. Right. Find a stopping point. So I've got a series of questions, but I would love to see if anybody has anything that they would like to share first. Any reading of the painting or any observations that you have before I ask a series of questions.
I can read it. I didn't
Hey,
write it.
Pooja. Yeah, would love to. Love to hear
So,
it. Mhm.
the painting that we're looking seems very eerie for two reasons. One is that the first strange part about it is that it seems like it's a really moonlit night because of the moon reflecting in the river. But there's also stars out, and you can almost see the stars. So it's a combination of a moonlit sky with the stars shining also. So that makes it eerie. The second thing is the woman has a scarf over her head, so her face is covered. And the strange part about her is that the way she's holding her fingers on her face. It's a very strange way to put the fingers on her face. It's almost like she's wanting to um, um, make sure her eyes don't close, like she wants to remain open, like keep her eyes open. So it's a very strange pose with her fingers.
Pooja, may I ask a follow-up question with that?
Yes.
Um, So when you're saying it seems like she's wanting to keep her eyes open, or you imagine that her hand is going up to her eyes, or that she's touching herself right below the eyes in order to. So what is it that you're seeing that's
It's a
making you
very,
say, yeah,
she's gently placed her fingers on her face.
yeah,
It's almost like she's pulling her cheeks down.
okay, got
Um,
it, like this, like she's pulling down on her cheeks a little bit so that
yeah.
her eyes. Yeah, that's a
I don't
dark eye.
recognize that.
That gesture, you don't recognize it. Yeah.
Yeah.
John, thank you very much, Pooja. John, I was seeing you with your hand like this while you were looking closely at the artwork. And were you trying to imitate the pose, or was that just the natural positioning of your hand? Oh, you're muted. You're muted. Still muted.
I was trying to think of what I might be doing if my hands were in that position, and nothing came to mind that would lead me to put my hands in that position. So I really wasn't able to come up with anything that made sense.
Yeah. Okay. So what did you come up with that made sense to you?
The one thing that I found interesting is it seems like the cloak and the head is blocking the moon just from the moonlight on the water, but the face is illuminated from something in front. It seems like, because
Hmm.
if the moon was the only light and it was behind the character, the face would be totally dark. So
Yeah.
trying to think of what might be in front that would be shedding some light on the character, but I couldn't really come up with anything that made sense.
Okay, that's interesting. I hadn't thought of that. That there's a light in front of her. Otherwise it would just be the silhouette.
Yeah.
Okay. What more did you see going on?
Um, her face is very calm and serene, like the water behind her. That it was the only other observation that I made, that the water has the same kind of serenity that she seems to have in her face, and a degree of sadness that is communicated, I think, mostly in her eyes.
So you're seeing the sadness, but a calmness as well. And that calmness that you see in her face is reflected in the calmness of the water that's behind her. Yeah, I see that as well. Let's see, Wendy or Lisa, is there anything that would you like to share your reading, or any additional observations you'd like to make?
Sure. I'm not really. I'm in my car. Sorry, trying to do this.
Well, I'm glad you're here.
A cloaked figure with a sunken stare stands in the clear, starry night near a body of water with a mountain or castle in the background. The pointer and middle fingers on either side of the mouth and the thumb not quite grasping the chin. This person seems deep in thought. Does this hand even belong to the person we're seeing?
Oh.
I just thought it looked odd. So I'm like, is there somebody like touching that person? Like, is that her? I wasn't sure. And I wasn't sure if it was a girl.
I see.
I felt like it's sort of this ambiguous character, or I don't know.
Okay, so
I felt completely perplexed by this.
okay. In some ways, I am too. So you're perplexed by the hand gesture, like John is, and you were looking at this structure back here. It looks like a mountain or a castle right back here, right?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, it does look like it's more built up than anything else that's around. Okay, and you were even going so far.
I think I couldn't see the bottom part of the hand as well. When you zoomed in, it does look like it's from underneath the cloak.
Yeah. Yeah.
But before I couldn't tell as well.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you, Lisa. Wendy, what have you got?
Okay. A figure is outside under the moon covered with a cloak. I think it is a woman. We can see only her face and her right hand. Why is her hand in front of her face that way? Is it a symbol? And is there a body of water behind her? Her face is expressionless, straight mouth, hard to read eyes. Are her eyes haunted or sad? The moonlight is behind. Oh, and then a similar question, what's causing her face to be slightly lit?
Mm.
But I thought that was, I noticed that the hand looked, well, as I looked at the features, again, I wondered if it was a man or a woman, but the features then looked more like a woman to me, but then the hand is actually kind of big compared to her face.
Mm. Mhm.
So suddenly that looked different to me after the question of like, could that be someone else's hand? I don't know.
Yeah.
That's, and then of course that takes on a very, very different feeling.
Okay. So, you're struck by that hand as well, and you also are wondering about the lighting in front of her face, like John was. Do you have any theories about the lighting there in front of her face?
I don't. It's interesting too, just because it's so subtle.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so that we can see the features, but not like there's something shining on. It would have to be something indirect.
Okay. It would have to be something indirect, not too shiny. All right. So I've got a series of questions here. This feels like we don't get many details or clues that suggest a story about who this character is. It's very simple. And the first question I have is something that Pooja started with was, okay, Pooja had an idea that there's a eerie feeling. So what are the clues that suggest eeriness? And John, you kind of continued on that with combining both your observations about her physical features with her setting. So I bet you could come up with maybe 5 details that make this whole scene, both the figure and her, look eerily calm, that have this stillness. So mentioned the water, mentioned her expressionless face, maybe haunted eyes. I'd throw in a couple more. I don't see any movement in the sky. There are no clouds that are moving. It's just the stars in the background. And then I'll throw in something else. The folds of her cloak are like columns, thick and hard almost. Even that around her head, there's nothing soft here. It seems firm. It's not moving. So maybe those things. But that hand, I don't know. I put up my hand like this often. So next question is, and Wendy, you're thinking maybe a lamp at her fireside. Side fire. What kind of thing is she looking at? What if you were to imagine a story involving her and she's got this gaze in this setting like this, what is she looking at? So we can eliminate some things. She's not looking at an episode of Seinfeld. She is looking at something that is serious, that's making her thoughtful. And maybe, Wendy, you're thinking that her glance is more inward than it is looking outward at something. So that would be serious too. Her thoughts. Any other conjectures about what it is if you were just to have this, see this person? What do you imagine they'd be looking at? Is it a lost, is it somebody that they love that's died? Is it a look of contemplating their own guilt? Is it a scene that they can do anything about? Yeah, jump on in.
Yeah, hopeless and maybe visiting the site of some sad experience.
Oh, a site of some sad experience. Yeah. Maybe even a cemetery. Yeah. Oh, okay. I just have a connection. Pooja, did you have anything you want to jump in with?
No.
Okay.
Every time I feel like I want to say something, I'm even more confused.
Well, good.
It's
Share
a
it.
blank stare, and yeah, there is grief.
There's blank stare and grief. What? Anything more?
I wish the hand had a little bit of different coloring. The hand coloring is very much like her face coloring. So you have to conclude that it's her own hand, and it doesn't make sense the way she's holding it. So
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And Wendy, go ahead.
Well, what struck me about the hand is that, you know, if you're sort of gasping or something's troubling, it's like you put your hand over, but you see how your fingers are kind of closed. I mean, it's sort of like a protective when there's a shock. So it's just interesting to, why are the fingers spread like that? It's not the same thing. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a part that confuses me too. Okay, so are you ready for a limited amount of background? The title of this painting is Silence. Silence. And from a quick Wikipedia search, this painting, apparently it is based on a statue in a cemetery. And I've got that statue here. And let me pull that up. And oh, you know what I'm going to put it side by side with the painting so that you can see what's the same and what's different. All right.
yeah, the statue's finger makes so much sense. You know, it's like she's shocked, so she brings up the finger to her lips. You know, that almost seems like a shock, whereas a surprise. Whereas the one in the painting, I can't tell.
One question I'd have about, yeah, go ahead.
I think somehow the placement of the tip of the finger on the lips is a totally different feel. Where it's like if you're thinking of something and you want clarity on it, I don't know why, I guess because the tips of your fingers and your lips are like very sensual and could be very distracting, or to put them together helps you to focus or something. Like if there's something you're trying, I mean, I guess if you were at a cemetery or something, I mean, grief maybe is a very difficult emotion to grasp. So that sort of like a touching of the lips is more, it's different than the painting. It could would be something that would help you focus or concentrate, something like that.
Yeah. Okay. So you're looking at the way that that this figure is touching the lips more slightly.
Yeah, it's a different feel. And to be able to see the eyes, like the lids are kind of half shut and like just weighed down. Like that's much clearer to see in the statue.
Yeah. Any other observations before I share a couple of mine? So one thing I'm confused by with the statue is I wonder if you can see my pointer right here. I wonder if that finger is broken off, or it might not be, which makes it really confusing because otherwise it'd be the same two fingers right there. But everything else seems to be the same. The kind of hood, though this one is a little bit different. And the fact that I think we're seeing the statue at a 3/4 glance makes it feel more like we're third person staring at what she's doing. But in this one, it feels like she's responding to us. And this would be my last question. And the way that I would try to personally connect to this image is more from the perspective of, okay, what is she telling me when I come up to her? What is she saying to me?
You know, I'm closed. I'm not open for communication or interacting.
Yeah. No, there are no answers for you here, Luke. Just the silence of the night. So maybe that light, that's the candlelight that I brought to her and met her and said, hey, what can you tell me about the fabric of the universe and the nature of life? I was struck by over here, you have the Big Dipper. So this must be all the constellations that are there that adds a little bit to the eternality, if that's a word, of everything behind her. And I heard in that same Wikipedia, I love Wikipedia, that like a critic saw this painting and said it reminded them of the Sphinx from ancient Egypt. So that enigmatic stare that Napoleon Bonaparte went up to and said, spoke to about the 3,000 years that have gone by. But here, there is no response. I would not want to meet her if I were looking for answers and wanting hope. All right. Maybe this is more disturbing than I initially thought.
Yeah. I had this one question about, what did you say about Napoleon Bonaparte?
Oh, so I had Napoleon. There's a famous painting, and apparently this was a documented scene when Napoleon invaded Egypt. He went to see the Sphinx and communed with the Sphinx to basically say, hey, Sphinx, what are your riddles? You've been here for 3,000 years, and I have my legacy that I want to expand till the infinity of time. Tell me your secrets. And then it's on my mind because there's also like the new Napoleon movie that's coming out. So, and the Sphinx also related to Oedipus and the Sphinx's riddles that Oedipus tries to solve. So that's the painting. Last question for this. Any favorite detail? Any favorite detail that you have?
Light on the water behind her.
The light on the water behind her. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the moon is hidden. Yeah, we don't know the nature of the moon. That's true. Okay. Any other favorite details? I think for me, it might be that eye. It's darker and more penetrating than I thought.
I think the color is really interesting. That, that it's so monochromatic.
Yeah.
The sky to her cloak, but it is very separate from it. But when you look at it, it's the water and the sky. It's just all different shades.
And you know what that's making me think is, you're emphasizing how monochromatic it is, makes me see the title throughout the painting even more. Mm-hmm. That it's the silence, not just of her face and her hand. It's enough over her lips so that she's not opening those lips, but it's also the silence of the sky around her and the stillness of everything. There's no wind making trees rustle or waves happen. It's all silence. Her and nature. All right. So that was mild. Are you ready to see what's in batch number 2? That might be a little bit more, disturbing. Okay, so I've got 3 here that I want to show you. And you can give quick titles. And then we'll pick one. So, calling this stack the disturbing. Are you ready? Here's the first one. What's your initial title? Oh yeah, John. Hell on earth. Very much so. Lisa, you have human horror. I think my first words are pain and suffering. Wendy, you have torture. Okay, now we're getting into the holiday mood. Here's the second one. What's your initial title here? I'm giving you a moment, just a moment, to see the full thing. John, you're calling it The Shadow. Puja, addiction. Oh.
Seems like the shadow is smoking a cigarette. Sorry.
Yeah. I'm gonna call it Not Who You Think I Am. Okay. And then one more. Here's a third one. John, you said misery. I'm gonna call it The Ceremony of the Damned. Lisa, you're calling it Ghastly Faces. Okay. So, of these 3, Hell on Earth, addiction, or Ghastly Faces, which one are you most intrigued by? 1, 2, or 3? Okay. Wendy says 3. John says 3. Pooja, 3 or 2. Yeah, I agree. 3 for me as well. So let's do this vocally. Let's talk this out. So feel free to unmute or to use the chat. What do you see going on? Who is this person? What do they seem like?
He- He's very distinguished, attractive, calm,
Distinguished, attractive, calm. What makes him look
pleasing
distinguished?
face, but then he has the shadow.
Yeah, then he has a shadow. So what makes him look distinguished? What makes him look distinguished? And then John, even with that, oh, French cuffs. I love that detail. So it's great. Okay,
He
well
does look
dressed.
like Norman Bates, right?
Norman Bates. Okay, he's got. Is that his mom behind him, or is that his alter from Psycho? Oh, okay, all right.
I don't think he wore French cuffs though.
Yeah, probably not. Probably not. All right. That's a nice checkerboard tie he's got. Isn't that maybe starched collar? Good night, Wendy. Thanks for joining. Okay. Now, John, you said he looked intelligent. What makes him look intelligent?
I don't know. He just has a kind of a knowing look in his eyes and his facial expression.
Yeah, the lid over the eyes make them seem calm and empathetic, almost like he's really looking at you.
Yeah.
And then the hands,
Hmm.
like he's thinking about something, considering something. Okay. All right. So what more do we see going on? Either about the shadow or anything else that you're seeing.
But he's using a stick. That's a stick, right?
So this object here,
Walking stick, no?
let's take a look.
Can't really.
So, I had to look up what this was. I had no idea.
Umbrella?
It's really thin, isn't it?
It's metal.
And it's metal. Okay, it might stick out down at the bottom, but it's hard to tell. So I learned that it's a medical tool. It's a medical tool. So and apparently I think dermatologists use it, but I don't know what it's for. All right. Lisa, go ahead. Yeah, feel free to.
Oh, no, I'm just
Yeah.
participating.
Yeah. So about the shadow? Elegant, intelligent,
Alien.
alien. So what makes the shadow look alien?
The size of his head and the character of the fingers.
Huge head. The fingers, this one especially looks not spindly, but sharp. And then Pooja, you're mentioning addiction because of the smoking. So where is that shadow coming from? Is it his shadow? Why is it there? Is it meant to be somebody else? Is it meant to be him?
I mean, he's not what he appears to be.
To me, it seems like he's the one that's casting that shadow, but that's not totally accurate now that I think about it. But
Yeah, it seems like it could. It appeared when I first saw it. Wow, it looked like it's him who's casting a shadow because we see the light on his face right here, right?
Yeah.
And so there would naturally be a shadow, but maybe I don't know if it's hard if we can tell whether the light is coming from the top over here. Maybe it is, but in any case, the shadow does not look anything like him.
yeah, and the angle is not right.
And the angle's not right. If you had to say the shadows of a man or a woman, what would you say?
Woman.
Oh,
Lisa, you don't agree with me.
I have no idea who it is.
Alien woman.
I'm trying to
Okay.
imagine, like, okay, what is he using this medical device for? Is this an autopsy? I don't know. I'm thinking all sorts of weird things.
if you
Is he
did not
trying
have
to help these aliens? I don't even
Yeah.
know what's going on.
So if
We
you
do
didn't
have a
have the shadow.
Halloween theme going on here, so
Yeah.
they are all eerie paintings.
All right. Now, if you did not have the shadow back there, but you just met this gentleman and he maybe was your doctor, what would he say to you based on the expression that you're seeing here?
You need to stop smoking.
You need to stop smoking. He might give you some friendly advice. You've been doing well with your diet, but there's a little bit more. Stay off the pizza for a little while longer. There's a concerned look about him. I feel like I could talk to him and feel like I could approach him.
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, Lisa, wait, what are you saying no?
I don't feel like I want to trust this guy. Maybe
Now,
it's
is
how
it
he's
is it
holding his
pre-shadow or
hands. I don't
post-shadow?
know. What?
Is
No,
it
just
pre-shadow or post-shadow?
just
Are
the
you
way he looks like everyone's saying, like intelligent and well kempt, but well, except some of his hair is kind of scraggly. He just I don't feel like I trust him. I have no idea how he's holding his hands or something. Like there's something I don't know creepy about it.
You don't like his ears, maybe too big?
And his eyes are so big, like there's no irises on them, and like they're black, like how you imagine maybe alien eyes or something.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm zooming in on his eyes a little bit here to see because you got me interested. Hey, Shannon,
I
welcome.
don't know. I just
So,
I don't feel like I would trust this doctor.
all right. Okay. I'm seeing a little bit of an iris here, and they're deep brown eyes. That's kind of what I'm. Is anybody else seeing that as well?
I mean, he
The
does
funny
seem
thing is,
concerned.
the funny thing is, I could have sworn he was smiling or he had a smile on his face,
Yeah.
although he wasn't smiling. And now, after Lisa said something, I'm like,
I don't know
he's
where
not
Lisa's getting
smiling.
this. I would want him as my doctor.
I guess I have an exceptionally high standards.
Okay, maybe. Shannon, will you be the arbiter here? Does he look like what would he say to you if you were to see him? Ignore the shadow in the background. If you just saw him, does he look
What would he say?
sympathetic? Yeah.
Yeah, I think he would say, if we're ignoring the shadow, I think he would say, how long has it been since your last period? What is your I think he would go right into business. He'd be like,
Oh.
how's your family? And then let's start talking about the details. What are you trying to solve? What's your health problem? Let's get
What details do you see that makes you see him as kind of being direct like that?
he's got his hands clasped together. He's got a suit on, so he's put together. His hair is a little bit messy though.
What do you read from the hands being clasped? How do you read that?
I think he's a thinker. He's putting some thought into this. He's got kind of a semi-open body position, like he's got open body language. He's kind of putting his hands together to think about something, and he's got a very kind face. His
and
face
I see
to
the
me.
hands like I don't know. He's hiding something, or he's not giving you the whole story. I don't know.
Okay, I think he's kind of in action. I think that he's like moving through this motion. He just set something down on the table. He picked up a different pill bottle. He picked up somebody's prescription, and then you walked in the room, and he's turned his attention on you, and he's got one hand in the other, and he's about to go reach for something else.
Okay, so Shannon, you're seeing a kind of directness, a thoughtfulness of let's get down to business. Lisa, you're seeing maybe a little bit of something about him that you don't trust. And John and Pooja, I think both of you are seeing kind of also he's put together. He's
Open and
sophisticated.
direct. Yeah, open, direct.
He looks compassionate and like he's about to share some bad news.
I'm thinking he looks compassionate. He's going to share some pretty good news. I don't know. I do see a smile, right? No,
I don't see a smile. Interesting. I see some. I think this is no. He hasn't talked to the patient yet. This is a brand new patient, and he's sizing up the situation.
he does look like
brand
he's sizing
new.
up. Yeah. All right. You ready for a little bit of background story here?
Sure.
Okay, so this is a portrait. Actually a double portrait. So it's a portrait of a medical doctor in, I think, 1928 Germany, Weimar. And
Ooh.
Oh, well, now everything makes sense.
no. He's actually Jewish. He's Jewish. So he's not a Nazi doctor. And the figure in the background is a woman.
Oh.
How'd you know that?
The nose and the lips, very sharp chin.
And it's a very particular woman. It's not his wife. It's his mistress.
Oh.
So there's a lot about this painting I don't know. But what Wikipedia did tell me is that when his wife found out about this mistress, I think her name is Sonia, the mistress, she committed suicide.
Oh. Wow.
And the thing I don't know is that I haven't found is when this was painted exactly in relation to his wife committing suicide.
Oh.
Whether it was before or after. Whether this is meant to be, okay, a portrait of that's got something that's haunting him, which is his dim view of this, or whether this is the perspective of the artist who was friends with this doctor.
I was right not to trust him.
That's true. Yes.
Yeah, I guess I'm too trusting.
But I thought he was creepy, but it's not that kind of mistrust.
Uh,
All right.
But okay, this shadow is a little weird though, right? Like that's not a particularly flattering
No, it's not.
picture
It's
to a mistress or anything.
no. It's something that this is not. Oh, let's celebrate the fact that you have a flourishing sex life. No, it's
it
yeah, Shannon,
reminds
go
me,
ahead.
it kind of reminds me of like Eve in the Bible, like a temptress.
Mhm.
Yeah, like
Kind of in
she
the.
looks
You
like-
mean you're looking at what are you seeing that's making you say that? Is
she's
there anything in particular in the image?
She kind of has like a snake tongue in the shadow, and then she's reaching for something. And I was kind of picturing, even before you said mistress, I was picturing like the snake and Eve with temptation.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. The non-flattering way in which she's depicted. I'm wondering if this might. It kind of looks like a tongue coming out, but Pooja, I'm thinking this is like smoke that's from her cigarette, right?
I thought it was a cigarette and smoke.
Yeah. But it does look like she's. I mean, her hands look reptilian.
Right.
So there's a little bit of a, and she's reaching out, almost like she's there in front of him. What's that, Lisa?
She's the snake.
She's a snake.
Yes, she's the temptress. She's the mistress.
I think the painter is trying to say that there is something shadowy in his life, and
Yeah.
that's his mistress.
Yeah.
There's something shadowy in his life, and that's his mistress. This respected doctor who's put together, who might even seem professional, and I took him as sympathetic and thoughtful, has something lurking in his background that we can't really see, but it is a shadow that's there.
Maybe
So
he's feeling some remorse or something.
maybe that's the big question I have about the timing of this. Is this feeling remorse about it because his wife has committed suicide, or is this beforehand and it's the artist? And the way I'm looking at it is okay, this is a statement about human beings. The artist is making a statement, and the artist is showing us a portrait of a person with something that is about them that's a secret that is also not a flattering secret.
But it depends on the culture too, because like I think I don't know what period of time, but like in France, it wasn't as big of a deal oftentimes for people to have affairs. Maybe Germany wasn't like that, or
now he comes from a Jewish background, So maybe there's that, and I'm wondering if there's a little bit more conservatism.
The guilt.
Yeah, maybe there. Maybe. So I'm looking at this and I'm feeling pretty disturbed because the connection here is, okay, what are the shadows that you have behind you in your life that you put up your professional and put together facade to hide? What are the monsters in your closet? Yeah, John, you're going to share some?
Yeah, that other people can see that you might not realize they can see.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good way of putting it. The things that you have that you don't realize that other people know about, can see.
Oh,
Ah.
wow. Now,
Yeah.
do we know if the painter was Jewish as well?
Okay, so the painter's name, let me pull that up real quick. I think his name is Shad. All right, let me find that, and I'll see if there's anything more, because this would be an interesting one to. It's 1928 is the portrait. Hans Holstein, Haulstein.
That sounds
And,
Jewish. The last name sounds
yeah.
Jewish.
And let's see. I'll send you. Okay. All right. Yeah. What can I fill you in? Okay, the painter. It's named Christian Schad. Putting that in the chat. And Dr. Holstein. So this caught me by surprise because initial look, it looks like it's something that's, Norman Rockwell could paint.
Yeah.
And then immediately that shadow just like, wow, it jumped out at me. It's creepy. Okay.
So good.
Favorite detail?
The hand, the shadow's hand is creepy. I like that.
Shadow's hand. That's a good one.
Yeah, it's like you said, reptilian plus the smoke or the tongue in her mouth.
Mm-hmm.
I just find the face very interesting, the way it's been like you can get multiple expressions from the same face.
Yeah.
All right. You like the face? Lots of character in the face. Mm-hmm. Any favorite details, John?
Yeah, his eyes. But I still see as showing some compassion.
I do too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I do too. Maybe he's asking for understanding. In a quiet way. All right. I do have one more question, but it might not be answerable immediately. Any parallels in literature or movies for characters that seem like they're put together, but they have something that haunts them in the past, haunts them? Oh, you know what? Is this like a guilty Hank Reardon?
Ooh.
One thought. Okay. So that's what I've got, but I do have extras if you want to stay around with me and see the ones that are not for kids' eyes. The ones that I would not include, would not include in this lineup because I think they're a little bit too disturbing. If you want to stick around, we'll glimpse them. We're not going to spend time with them. I'm calling it the After Dark portion. Yeah. Oh, just to give you a size of this one, that was pretty freaky.
I'll
Okay.
stay and get into the Halloween mood.
You want to stay and get in the Halloween mood? Is that what you're gonna do? All right. All right. Well, you're forewarned. Okay. Some of these are just thinking about them. Okay. Oh, here we go. After Dark. Not too bad. Not too bad. What disturbed me about this one was finding out who she is.
Oh, I have a guess, but I'll save it.
Go for it.
What?
Go for it, Shannon. I'm not gonna spend too much time. Yeah.
Is
what's your
it
guess?
is it Ophelia?
It is Ophelia.
Ah,
Yeah.
aha. There we
And
go.
usually you see her kind of with her whole body.
Yeah. The
But
red
she-
hair is different.
Mhm.
It's
And
like
proportionally, isn't her face too big? Because it seems like there's mountain and big lake, right? Or am I?
It does look like that, right? It's kind of it's kind of like blurred, but still it does look like it's really zoomed in on her face.
Mm.
So yeah. All right. That's mild. Here's the next one.
Whoa.
If you can tell me, Luke, keep going if you want. Or zoom in if you want to.
It's like Frankenstein and a dying woman.
Close. Very close. Death and the Maiden. But also yeah, Death and the Maiden, but also a self-portrait of the artist with his last mistress before he married. And this is kind of the goodbye.
Wow.
Who's the artist?
Egon Schiele. SCHIELE.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. Okay. The next few are all from the Brussels Museum of the 19th Century Museum in Brussels, and they're all from the same artist, and maybe the single most disturbing artist whose art would be allowed in art museums. All right. Oh no, this is not this artist. This is a different one. Sorry. He's even gonna be more disturbing than this, which is already really disturbing.
Are they hanging from the tree?
That sounds like Shannon. You want a close up?
Yeah. Oh, they're caught by their hair. With a baby nursing. But only the head. That's creepy.
This is called the Wicked Mothers. So where all the wicked mothers go.
Huh.
I think it's they're forced to mothers that abandon their kids or something, and now they're forced to have them in perpetuity.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Oh, sorry, jumped ahead. Wow. I'm zooming through these. Now we're to that artist. This one's called The Dead Women.
Dead
Yeah,
women.
John, right?
With a dead mouse on a string?
I think that might be their puppy.
Oh.
Yeah, it's their dog.
Oh my gosh. It says CAP and the
I don't know what that is actually, because that's not the name of the artist.
Interesting.
Uh,
The colors are really nice. There's some creepy little babies holding up the train of the dress.
Yeah, can you zoom in on the
creepy little babies.
interesting?
All right. Okay, you're ready for the top most disturbing one.
Yeah, let's see it. Ooh.
Ugh.
Like giant bride.
Getting her eyes burned out by the Grim Reaper. And she dropped her purse. And she doesn't have any legs. She's kind of melting into the snow, isn't she?
Oh, I just noticed that there's a whole other crew of them over there.
Oh, they're waiting for her.
Ugh.
Burning out the eyes is just bizarre.
Okay. Got one more from him. It's not as disturbing, but I think the mythology of it captures maybe this artist. This.
Mm.
Can you identify who this is from mythology?
I see a snake.
Mhm.
Pandora. She's got a
Half
box.
right.
Okay.
What's the legend of the Pandora?
She opened a box and let out everything evil into the world.
Oh, okay.
Is it Eve?
Pandora's box. It could be. It looks like Eve. She has an apple with a face on it.
And that's the other half.
Oh, it's
This
Eve.
is
and
a
Pandora.
combination. Eve Pandora.
Oh,
wow.
So
But what?
the
It's an
two
apple?
most misogynistic myths ever created.
no.
Let's just put them together.
Put them together into one.
Wow.
So I think if it's because it's Eve, there's a tree there because that snake comes out of the tree. But then why there's a big sun?
I don't know. That might be a moon or a sun. Yeah, it could be.
But
That's
is
strange. Yeah.
it's an apple with a face?
It does look like a face, doesn't it?
That's
Because
weird.
that's creepy.
It's like,
It's an evil apple.
And she's wearing clothes. Eve wasn't wearing clothes, but
Yeah.
Pandora was. She's wearing Pandora's clothes.
Maybe
Well,
it's Pandora's.
she hasn't bitten the apple yet, I guess.
What is she thinking at this moment? Is she looking up like, I guess I'm going to go ahead and do this. I already let out all the evils. Let me taste it too.
They are very similar myths, aren't they?
Yeah.
apple looks like a man curled up.
The apple does, doesn't he? Yeah.
Although nobody reads
Oh.
the second half of that
Is
myth.
that what
Adam
it
was right there with her.
But is it a man curled up with his head down?
Oh, it is.
Wait, what are you talking about?
The apple. She's right. It's a man
Like his
curled up with his
elbows
head
are
down.
coming out.
Oh,
He's
Yeah,
naked.
it is.
Mm,
Arms are over his head.
oh yeah.
It could
That's
be that.
cool. I never would have saw that.
Mm.
So it's the two women who are blamed for everything. All the problems of the world are on those two people. And the men are cowering. Although nobody ever reads the second half of the Adam and Eve story, because Adam was right there with her and just as guilty.
Oh. Okay.
Why is there only half part of her and then she's invisible in the other part?
Let's see. It's like
Or
Hmm.
maybe not. That's just her hand.
This artist doesn't like to draw legs, does he?
Or
he
maybe
does
she's
not.
extremely thin.
He does
He
not.
just skips the legs. But is this the same woman as in the other painting with the Grim Reaper on her? Because she doesn't have legs either, and she's got the same haircut and the same dress. Similar.
So there's no background story that I know of for this one. It's just called The Carcass.
Oh, interesting.
And this one is just a dead woman.
Hmm.
The dead
It's the
ladies.
dog that's most disturbing about that one.
I know.
Yeah.
The colors are really nice. I like the blue.
Yeah.
You got kind of some
I think they're
trees
rather
back
nice.
here, right? Look, the moon behind the trees is
Yeah, that's
here.
signature.
All right. So yeah, that was the horror. That was the horror.
Do you know anything more about the one with the eyes being burned out? I'm not thinking of what that pertains to.
No, I don't. I just done a cursory Wikipedia or internet search, but this one is ugh.
Or maybe her eyes shoot fire.
You know, I would say so, except that everybody in the background has fire, has torches as well.
That is it's his force.
The fact that she looks like she could have come out of an opera. She looks like she's sophisticated, and then she's
Can you
transferred
zoom in on
immediately.
The eye? It might be that the fire is in the background, not in.
You want to. Pooja's like, Luke, zoom in.
I feel like it is in her background. He's looking at her face.
Maybe.
I'm seeing blood on her face.
What are these creatures? Because they're like, if she's the normal size, a human, they're like humans, but they're 4 inches tall or something.
They're skeletons. I think that's like little Grim Reapers.
Yeah, they're skeletal, aren't they?
Yeah, and then this one that's like analyzing her dress. I don't know. Like, oh, we could make some new cloaks out of this. Like, I don't even know how that even fits with it.
What's the legend of the Grim Reapers? What's Grim Reaper?
They're the guy that comes to get you when you're dead. He's like the angel of death.
And there's only supposed to be one.
Yeah,
but here it looks like. Oh, is that a beak? Are these beaks that they have on their heads?
Oh, they're.
Oh no, not those as much. And then this was this like a church lantern? A lantern in the shape of a
house.
Oh, that's cool. Actually, I want one of those.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
And that's her hat right here.
And so, she dropped her purse.
Oh, and there's money. And okay, so this might be the clue here. There's some writing, and that might be a clue that unlocks things, which I don't think I've got an image. You see my photo, how it's tilted? It's because I didn't spend much time adjusting myself to get a good photo.
So the Grim Reaper, they're like elf Grim Reapers, they're smaller size. She's normal size.
And Grim Reapers are supposed to be normal size too, and there's only one. There's only one Grim Reaper, so that's why it looks like a Grim Reaper because of the skeleton and all that. But
yeah, it's something different.
Okay, I think I'm gonna call it. Here, do you want the artist name? If you want to do more research.
Not really.
Okay, now this one is kind of fascinating, and how it's like, let's bundle up all the myths together into one, and
who's this artist?
That's okay. That's what I'll answer. All right, the artist name, and we'll end here. So, let me pull that up quick. So let me ask you, for which one has been your favorite this evening of the artworks?
I missed a few, but that doctor one that we went through was really interesting.
Okay. John, is that what you're thinking too? Yeah, I think for me as well. Lisa, did you have a favorite? Pooja, did you have a favorite?
I mean, I'll say that it was a perfect Halloween evening. Thank you so much for compiling the most eerie paintings ever.
Okay. You like the doctor one too. Lisa and Pooja, you just enjoyed the perfect Halloween evening. Okay. So the artist name is Gustav Adolf Mosa. So Gustav, I'm putting it in the chat in case you want to.
Thank you, Luke.
Yeah, well, my pleasure.
When's our next salon?
I'm gonna have one. I'm doing preparations for a trip to England, so probably next month, and maybe I'm doing all the museums in England. So
amazing.
Nice.
The National Gallery was most recent one, and then probably maybe a couple of other museums in London and Liverpool and Manchester and other smaller museums.
Okay.
All right, everyone. Thank you very much for joining me and for
Thank you
lasting
so
this long. I'll talk to you guys later. And thank you everybody in the recording. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.